2. Testing 1 2 1 2. Testing 1 2 1 2. Good morning, everyone. I hope you can hear me. We have internet issues in the office. I'm using my cell phone as a hotspot to get connectivity to my desktop. It's slow, so we can't share the screen today. So I need you to pull up your apps and watch lists and pull up the charts as I'm talking to you. Okay, if you can hear me, please put a comment in the chat so I know you can hear me. Today is Tuesday, January 30th. Yesterday, we had quite the day with our predictions. Let me just pull them up over here. No, hold on. Here we go. Okay, yesterday we gave you 3 trade ideas. Well, one was hold Zim from Friday. So hopefully you were in the Zim trade from Friday. It was up 7.5% yesterday. The other one was CLRB day trade. It was up 14% open to close. And then Geo day trade up 2.2% open to close. And we also advised to hold SMCI through earnings. That's a long-term, one of my favorite long-term stocks. And that stock's been up probably now 17% or so since yesterday's open. Actually took some profits on SMCI, but we'll take a look at that. So we had no negative calls yesterday. All of our calls were green, deep in the green yesterday. SPY was up 0.79%. So we crushed the markets yesterday with our predictions. Now, this morning, there are a bunch of catalysts out there we're going to talk about. We have the SMCI earnings. We have GM earnings. There's a lot of other earnings, but the ones that stood out to me was SMCI, GM earnings, some bad news on BA, a little bit of a catalyst on CLRB we'll talk about. Also, going to mention MSOS and uranium, these swing ideas. Technically, they look really good. We'll talk about that. We'll give you an update on Zim and Tesla. We'll talk about that in Bitcoin. All right, so that's the agenda. I'm going to start with some updates on these picks that are probably not going to be the top picks of the day. All right. Tesla. So Tesla, I've been avoiding because I think it's been overvalued since the last couple earnings reports. I've been avoiding it out of it. But it's been, I've been looking for 160 to 180. Haven't been shorting it. Well, I did last week for a little bit, but got out of that short. And it's gone the wrong way against us. So that's good that we're not shorting it. We're just waiting for lower levels. But I got to be honest, you got to respect technicals and sentiment, even though the fundamentals are poor. That's what we do at Story Trading. On the technicals, we broke the gap, the 193 gap. You see that? So after 193, you have resistance. You have potential upside targets at 197.85 and 206. Why is this happening with Tesla? Well, this is interesting. This is what we love about story trading. We look at sentiment, and sometimes sentiment's difficult for certain investors to understand. Neuralink came out with news yesterday. Elon Musk saying, "Hey, we've implanted the first chip in a patient at Neuralink." Why are we even talking about Neuralink? It has nothing to do with Tesla. Wrong. All right. The market, an asset price, an asset's market value is not based just on fundamentals, also based on sentiment. Why does sentiment change when Neuralink gets a positive update, because it speaks to the innovation capabilities of the CEO of Tesla, Elon Musk. If he's having progress with Neuralink, right, it says, well, what other things can he do for Tesla? We're already excited about AI and robotics. I know there's that issue with share ownership, but put AI and robotics aside, this guy, it just emphasizes this guy's an innovator. There may be other great things that come out for Tesla. So I'm going to buy the stock today. We're going to give the stock a premium today on this thing that you can't even measure on a spreadsheet. That's why the stock is up and broke above that gap level at and now 197.85 and 206 potential upside targets. I'm not playing it because as a story trader, I want the fundamental pillar, and I don't have that now with Tesla. So I'm avoiding that, just letting you know. All right, Bitcoin. We gave you the perfect Bitcoin trigger Friday morning, and the thing just roared to our target within 48 hours. I think that initial target we gave you was 43,000. No, it was 42,500 from 41,000. It was like a $1,500 move. Now we've broken 43,000, and the next target on Bitcoin, which is 44,500, and that's looks pretty good actually. Let's see here. 44,500. You can see on your chart, it's above both the 20 and the 50 DMAs with a relatively low RSI. So Bitcoin continues to have its upward move here. The time to really play that was Friday morning when we triggered Bitcoin, because I've been bearish on Bitcoin for a couple weeks. Friday morning, I got bullish on Bitcoin. I should have pressed it harder as a trade of the day. I didn't. I just told you, hey, I'm bullish now. Here's the target. But that would have been a great time to do things like Mara and Riot. Mara, by the way, looks like it still has room to $20.36. That's the 20 DMA. All right, let's move on, see what else we got on our list here to talk about. Uranium and MSOS. All right, uranium and MSOS. These are swings. I like the uranium, obviously, because of the fundamental tailwinds that have not changed at all. And then MSOS is, I think it's a geopolitical play on Trump gaining steam and the current administration maybe wanting to do something, to buy some votes. As I think legislation wise, we can see something getting done with cannabis this year. So that's my thesis on MSOS. And let's look at these charts because they're both pretty interesting right now. Let's go to, all right, let's pull up uranium first. Uranium, beautiful. Wow, this is just a perfect bounce off the 20 DMA and the gap fill yesterday. We've been telling you about this. Wait for that 20 DMA bounce. It came yesterday. It's reset. The RSI is reset. I think we're raring to go. It's a 53.20 in pre-market. Well, 53.54 was the close yesterday. And we're probably, I think, headed back to $58. I don't know how quickly, but yesterday, bouncing off that 20 DMA, good time to enter or add to a position. And I think I might be doing that today, adding a little bit more to my uranium. Maybe a little bit of a trade position. I got a long term. All right. MSOS looking really good here. We just gave you the thesis of why it's going to have a tailwind here for the intermediate term. And look at that. If you pull up a 6-month daily chart, you'll see this gigantic cup forming. It's right at the top of that cup now with resistance at 988, but that's like a rogue candle. You see this candle on September 15th. I'm tempted to ignore that September 15th candle and then tell you the breakout levels right here, like at 930, like where we are, which to me, I think this is already a cup breakout heading for 988. So 988 would be the next target on MSOS. It could happen today. No particular catalyst for it to happen today. Just technically, it looks really good. And I got to remind everyone, tomorrow is FOMC. Okay, so always a wild card. All right, we'll talk about that TLT. There's a lot to do. Okay, so anyway, MSOS, but that's a risk asset. That's what I'm thinking about the TLT. So in fact, let's just quickly jump to that. TLT had a good day yesterday. It's right on the cusp at the 200 DMA, 94.86. 200 DMA is 94.91. So it's decision time. We'll see what Powell says tomorrow. They're not going to cut interest rates. They're not going to increase them. All right, probably not. So it's all going to be about the tone of what he says and the guidance he gives are, in terms of dovish or hawkish, right? So if it's going to be dovish, then you can see a TLT breakout, IWM, RK breakout, risk assets like MSOS breakout. Okay, by the way, there was a good GDP number out of Eurozone today. They're expecting recession. They didn't get it. So that's, I don't know if that is that good news is bad news or bad news is good news. I'm not sure. All right, so we'll have to see. I think Powell is going to decide the next move in the market. All right, going back to our stocks for the day here. So we gave you MSauce, uranium. All right, let's talk about Zim, and then we'll get into the SMCI GM earnings and the BA news. All right, so Zim, looking at the chart, been looking at it very carefully. I think this is headed to $16 to $20. All right, but there's a thesis here, and we could be wrong. That thesis is obviously that the disruptions in the Red Sea don't get better. Right, we continue to have conflict in the Red Sea. That's my thesis. As long as you have that, this is heading to $20. Like if this conflict continues for another couple months, all right, they're gonna be able to give a dividend. I think I calculated roughly like $1 per month of dividend for each month that this drags along. So if you have like a 6-month conflict, you can get like a $6 dividend. All right, and the stock's at $14. So that's what the thesis is all based on, and I'm bullish on it. You make your own decision whether you think these Houthis will be dealt with quickly or whether you think this is going to be ongoing. If you think it's going to be ongoing, you'll probably want to be on my side and be bullish on this. So technically, the level we got to break is 1537. Call it 1550. Once you break 1550, because there's another candle resistance at 1547, I see. So once you break 1550, I think this quickly goes into the $16 to $20 range. So Zim, I continue to be very bullish on, but for today, maybe not. All right, we don't have this pre-market strength in the sector with other related stocks. I don't see that pre-market strength. I don't see a huge catalyst. I know U.S. is going to retaliate against Iran, but the real catalyst was Sunday when Iran hit. The retaliation is obvious if that's going to happen. So Zim could be an underperformer today. Not going to be a top pick for today, but definitely a top swing. All right. Now let's go into things that potentially could outperform today. We had a couple ERs, GM and SMCI. All right, let's go to SMCI first. So SMCI has been something I've had a big position in since the beginning of the year, but I've been selling on the way up, and I sold 75% of what I had remaining last night, and I probably made a mistake. When I saw the thing surging, I'm like, dude, they already pre-announced. Everyone knew they're gonna have good earnings, or everyone could have assumed they'd beat again or beat guidance. And I'm like, all right, let me sell the news. But then I took the time to look at the numbers, and when you look at the numbers, this is what they show. They beat EPS for the quarter by 13%. They beat EPS guidance for next quarter by 22%. And they raised revenue guidance for the year by 38%. You know what we like to do here is to take that EPS beat and then triangulate that with the chart. Say, okay, first of all, market's forward looking. I don't care about the quarter that just finished 13%. So we have the next quarter, 22%. So if you take 22%, okay, and apply that here, you get something close to like $600 that the stock could go to. But this thing has been up in a straight line. So I tell you what I did. I modified our formula. So I didn't take yesterday's close. I took the previous day's close because there was a lot of hype, a big move yesterday. So I said, let's subtract that out. Let's take the close from Friday, January 26th, and apply that 22% over there. And then you get to a number of 578. Okay. Then I take that number, I try to triangulate it on a chart. Here, when you're all-time record high territory, you have no previous candles to look at, no moving averages to look at to tell you what 578 may be close to. This is the only place my form of technical analysis has a weakness. When you're all-time highs and you have no historical references, that's when maybe you want to consult with like a Rex with his Fibonacci levels. I'm not sure what he's saying, but on the fundamental re-rating, I'm seeing 578 is what I get to. We're at 543 in pre-market. Now, based on this 38% guidance increase for 2024, you could see the stock going to $600 to $700 this year, maybe even this quarter. But I'm not so upset that I pared back and I sold 75% of my position last night, because I think you're getting into territory. First of all, the PE is now appreciably higher. Even with the guidance increases, it's still appreciate. It's like in the mid-20s now compared to like 17 or 18 at the beginning of the year. Okay, so the PE is higher. And now you have people, and I've been seeing chatter of how sustainable are these earnings, right? This like hardware cycle at some point is going to come to an end. So there's going to be worry about sustainability of earnings into 2025. So I'm okay that this is not one of my largest positions anymore, and I got like just a small position now. I will be looking for pullbacks, I think, like 500 to 550. I think 550. Well, oh, look, we're at 540 already in pre-market. All right, let's see this. So 540. Oh, great. Now I'm a little happier I sold last night. All right. So then that's the buy range. I would say between 500 and 550 is going to be a new support, just as a fundamental support level with these EPS levels. So 500 to 550 is your support level. 578 your target. Maybe does 6 to 700, but I'm not going to push it. I'm not staying around for that. Okay. I think we've made a lot of money in SMCI this year, and I'm going to be moving on and just maintaining a small position at this point, with the exception of maybe this moves to 578 today. Okay, as a re-rating. All right. Next thing we want to look at is GM earnings. GM earnings really caught my eye this morning. All right, so GM beat earnings by 7% for the quarter, and they guided for a 15% beat versus estimates for 2024. So 15% beat takes you to, I didn't write that number down, did I? Okay. 15% beat. If we want to do a re-rating on 15%, we're up 7% right now. It's like another 7% potentially. So 35.39 was a close yesterday. Let's do this math together. 35.39 times 15% takes you to 40.69. If you triangulate that on the chart, what's near 40.69 on the chart? 40.81 right there. There's a candle resistance at 40.81. There's also resistance now / support at 36.85. So the two key levels I see on GM are 36.85 and 40.81. And I took some GM this morning. I like it because it's kind of like a sleeper play that, it's a boring company. No one expected to do well. Yesterday, the stock was not up a lot, like as opposed to like SMCI, which was. So, I slept on American Express because I'm like, that's a boring company. Friday morning, I gave that to you guys. Friday morning, I'm like, American Express beat. We're going to all-time new highs, 195 plus, but I didn't play it because I'm like, oh, it's like a $500 boring company, 500-year-old boring company. I'm not interested. So I feel like I don't want to do that mistake again. GM, like a 500-year-old, I'm exaggerating, a 500-year-old boring company that there's no hype around, so I'm just not going to play it. Now, you know what? I missed on American Express, so I'm going to play GM here today on the significant beat. And I'm just wondering, too, is there any money flow coming out of Tesla? Is there going to be into GM? Now, people are saying after this latest earnings report that Tesla is really expensive fundamentally, but GM is raising their ER guidance. Maybe there's going to be some money flow rotation out. So GM, I like for today. And again, the target was 40.81. 40.81 on GM. All right, let's see what else we got for you over here, and then we'll try to rank them real quick. BA had some bad news. BA we killed. We're right on top of this. I made some money, but I should have made a lot more. I sold way too early on that short idea. Anyway, BA withdraws safety waiver request for 737 MAX 7. At the same time that now it's revealed Alaska Airlines jet may have been missing the bolts altogether and not just loose bolts. So this news that they're withdrawing the safety waiver request for 737 MAX 7 is a setback in terms of timing for production and sales and everything like that, and it could hit the fundamentals. So BA, I think, could be a short idea today. It's down 0.76% in pre-market to 203.64. It recently hit a low of 198.32. I would not be surprised to see BA move towards 198.32 today and retest that recent low. All right, so that's a trade idea for you there. And I'm throwing a lot of information at you. Almost done, and then we'll rank them. Last thing I wanted to mention, CLRB, which was that huge winner for us yesterday, 14% open to close, technical breakout. Three things. You got the technical breakout. You got the warrant overhang finish because they exercised those warrants. You got some positive clinical data coming out the other week right before the warrant exercise. And this morning, the CLRB announces enrollment of the first patient in pediatric high-grade gliomas, I'm not even sure. I should know. I don't know. I should know this because I have a doctor of pharmacy degree. But that was a long time ago. Phase 1B clinical study. Okay. So in any case, CLRB, if you take a look at this chart, man, there is no resistance here. This thing has broken free. I think this can swing to $5 to $7 or $4.16 right now, $4.16. So I think I shaved off a little bit yesterday from that Friday entry. Remember Friday afternoon? I saw that breakout forming. I'm like, I want to get some for Monday morning. So I did that, sold a little bit, but I still held most of my position in CLRB. I think I may try to swing this for a move to 5+, maybe as high as 7. All right. That being said, what are we going to do with our top picks here? You know what? I think I got to make it GM. I'm looking at everything. Like, I don't want to chase SMCI. SMCI is going to be a great trading stock. Like I said, 500 to 550 range. If he can buy those dips and then sell it in the, I guess 550 to 578 range, that target. There's also some resistance here this morning from 565. All right. SMCI, great trading stock. If you have no exposure, and he never had it, might not be too late to grab some for the long term between 500 and 550. But GM, I got to make first just because, and sometimes I'm wrong on this because I tend to avoid popular names. And at this point, SMCI was an unknown company when, more unknown when we were really pushing it a few months ago. Now it's like a popular company and it's starting to get a premium, 28 billion. No, now it's $30 billion market cap. Like, so I don't know. GM's not a popular company, so I lean towards the unpopular company. Sometimes I pay dearly for that because I miss very obvious plays. I'm like, everyone knows about this company. Who needs me? Who needs me to analyze some popular company like Nvidia? Like, who needs that, right? Everyone knows it's great. Like, why should I focus on that? So sometimes I miss out by doing that, but other times you get huge winners, like we did with Rum, like we did with Zim. So I'm going to go with my playbook of going with a less popular name, GM, on the significant beat, and it's spiking into the open. You can see that right here. I might even do some call options at the open on this, looking for 40 plus. All right, so that'll be the number one pick of the day. I think is going to be GM. We're going to continue to hold Zim swing. I gave you the analysis on SMCI, and we're going to continue to hold CLRB swing. BA short might work out, but I don't know if I'm not sure if I have time to focus on that. And I already made money on it twice. I don't want to jinx it. But so that's the list for you guys today. Looks like I'll be focusing on GM and then MSOS Uranium also. MSOS Uranium on those technical swings triggering this morning. MSOS on a breakout, Uranium on a bounce off support. So I think that'll be my three focuses: GM, and then MSOS and Uranium. With that, thank you for listening to me. Sorry about the internet issue. Hope everyone heard me clearly. I'll talk to you in the chat room. Take care, everyone.